The bar was loud, the jukebox screaming old rock and roll, laughter thick with whiskey breath and cigarette smoke. No one noticed the small woman in the corner, quiet, hands rough from work, wearing a faded denim jacket that didn't quite fit. But when the biker's hand reached out, when the rip of fabric echoed like thunder through the noise, everything stopped, and in that frozen silence, the ink on her back told a story no one expected, a story of loyalty, loss, and courage that would break every heart in that room. This isn't just about a tattoo. It's about what it means to carry a war on your skin and never be seen until the moment the world forces you to show your scars. Rain had soaked the old highway all evening, and by the time Sarah Holt pushed open the wooden door of Murphy's Roadhouse, her jeans were wet up to the knees. The place was what you'd expect out of a biker bar in a forgotten Arizona town, neon beer signs, jukebox stuck on 80s rock, and a crowd that didn't smile much at strangers. Sarah wasn't there to start trouble. She just needed warmth, maybe a hot coffee. Her hands trembled as she took off her denim jacket and sat quietly at a corner table. The waitress, a woman with tattoos crawling up her neck, raised an eyebrow but didn't ask questions. Sarah liked that. No questions. Then they came in, 3 bikers, loud, laughing, the kind of men who believed the room belonged to them. The leader, a mountain of muscle named Rex, noticed Sarah almost immediately. Maybe it was because she didn't belong. Maybe it was because quiet strength draws the loudest people like moths to flame. "Hey, sweetheart," he called across the room. "You lost or something?" Sarah gave a polite shake of the head. "Just passing through." He grinned, took a swig of beer. "Then pass through here," he said, patting the empty chair next to him. His buddies laughed, banging their bottles on the table. Sarah turned back to her coffee. She didn't owe anyone attention. But Rex wasn't used to being ignored. He stood up, swaggered over, and leaned on her table. "I'm just being friendly," he said. "You too good for a friendly drink?" "I'm fine," Sarah said quietly. Her voice was calm, but there was a steel edge beneath it, the kind of tone that told you she'd faced worse men than him before. Rex didn't like that. Without warning, he reached down and tugged at her shoulder, trying to force her to face him, and in the scuffle, the old flannel shirt she wore tore clean down the back. The sound ripped through the bar like a gunshot, and that's when everyone froze. On her back, stretching from shoulder to shoulder, was a black and silver tattoo, the eagle, globe, an anchor of the United States Marine Corps, flanked by 2 names and the words, "For those who didn't come home." The jukebox kept playing, but no one moved. Rex stepped back, his face suddenly pale. You were a Marine," he stammered. Sarah turned slowly. Her eyes, tired, steady, unflinching, met his. "Still am," she said. "You never stop being one." No one spoke. Even the bartender, a man used to bar fights and broken bottles, looked down respectfully. Sarah picked up her jacket, shrugged it over the torn shirt, and walked toward the door. But then she stopped, just long enough to say, "Respect isn't about fear, son. It's about knowing when to shut your mouth and learn something." Then she left, leaving a silence that tasted like guilt and awe. Outside, the rain had stopped. She stood for a moment under the old flickering sign, the sound of her heartbeat louder than the music behind her. She wasn't angry. Just tired. Tired of being invisible until someone decided to test her strength. But tonight, maybe they'd remember. The next morning, the bar was different. The usual laughter was quieter, conversations shorter. Word had spread fast about the woman with the Marine Corps tattoo, the one who shut Rex down without raising her voice. Rex hadn't shown up since that night. He'd gone home to his small trailer outside town, sat in silence with a beer he didn't finish. The tattoo wouldn't leave his mind. The names. The words. The look in her eyes. He thought about his own brother, who joined the Marines 10 years ago and never came back. By noon, Rex walked back into Murphy's. The bartender raised an eyebrow. "Back so soon?" Rex just nodded and ordered a coffee. Then, after a moment, he asked, "That woman, you know her?" The bartender shrugged. "Name's Sarah Holt. Comes through once a year. Always sits in that corner. Heard she lost her whole unit overseas. Came home, but home didn't feel like home anymore." Rex swallowed hard. "Where's she now?" "Probably headed north," the bartender said. "Always leaves after the rain." Rex left a 20 on the counter and walked out. 2 days later, on a dusty roadside gas station, Sarah was filling her truck when she heard a motorcycle pull up behind her. She turned and saw Rex remove his helmet. "I owe you an apology," he said. Sarah looked at him for a long moment. "You already gave it," she said quietly. "When you walked away." He shook his head. "No. I was stupid. I didn't see you for what you were." "And what am I?" she asked. Rex smiled faintly. "The kind of person I wish I'd been." They stood in silence for a while. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of desert and rain. Then Rex reached into his pocket and pulled out something, a small silver chain with a Marine Corps dog tag attached. "My brother's," he said. "He didn't make it home either." "Maybe you could keep it safe for a while." Sarah's eyes softened. She shook her head. "No, Rex. You keep it. But live in a way that honors it." "That's what they'd want." Rex nodded, his throat tight. For the first time in a long while, he felt something like peace. As she climbed into her truck, he called out, "Hey, what did it mean?" "The tattoo." "The words." Sarah smiled, faintly. "It means we carry them, the ones we lost. Not in our skin. In how we live." She drove off, dust curling behind her, leaving Rex standing there under the hot Arizona sun, a little smaller, a little wiser. Months later, on the wall of Murphy's Roadhouse, a framed picture appeared. It showed the eagle, globe, and anchor, and beneath it, written in black marker, "Respect the quiet ones. They've fought louder wars than you'll ever hear." Every new biker who came through that bar read those words before ordering a drink. And some nights, when the jukebox went quiet, someone would whisper about the woman who carried her pain like a medal and taught a whole room full of men what true strength looks like. Sometimes, heroes don't wear uniforms anymore. But if you're lucky, you might meet one on a rainy night and learn that the loudest courage is often the quiet kind.